The knock came at exactly 8:03 p.m., 3 minutes later than the message said she would arrive. Daniel froze halfway across the living room, his heart suddenly beating harder than it had any right to for a simple blind date. But the moment he opened the door, the woman standing on his porch didn't smile, didn't introduce herself, didn't even look relieved to see him. She leaned slightly toward him, her eyes wide with fear, and whispered just 5 words that would change his life forever. "Someone's following me." Before we continue this emotional story, take a moment to support the channel. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of helping strangers in their darkest moments, please like this video, share it with someone who believes in humanity, comment where you're watching from, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Stories. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts around the world. Daniel Harper had been a single father for almost 5 years, and life had slowly taught him how to survive loneliness. His days were filled with routine, packing school lunches, rushing his 6-year-old daughter Lily to school, working long shifts as a mechanic, and coming home to quiet evenings where the only laughter in the house belonged to his daughter. He had learned to live with the silence that followed after Lily went to bed, the kind of silence that reminded him how much of his life he had spent putting himself last. The blind date had been his sister's idea. She insisted that Daniel deserved more than a routine life filled only with responsibility and memories of the past. At first, he resisted the idea completely, convinced that romance was a chapter already closed in his story. But eventually he agreed, mostly to stop his sister from asking again and again. Her name, according to the message he received earlier that afternoon, was Elena. And now Elena stood at his door, pale and trembling, her breath uneven as she kept glancing toward the dark street behind her. Daniel didn't ask questions right away. Something in her eyes told him this was not the time for curiosity. It was the time for instinct. He stepped aside and quietly motioned for her to come inside. The moment she crossed the threshold, he gently closed the door and locked it. Only then did he notice how tightly she was holding her purse, as if it contained something important enough to protect with her life. The small house suddenly felt different, like the calm evening Daniel had expected had been replaced with a strange tension pressing against the walls. Elena stood near the door for a moment, listening carefully, as though expecting footsteps outside. Daniel moved toward the living room window and pulled the curtain slightly aside. The street looked ordinary. A few parked cars. A dim streetlight flickering in the distance. No visible figure hiding in the shadows. But Elena's fear didn't look imagined. She finally sat down slowly on the edge of the couch, her hands still shaking slightly. Daniel noticed how exhausted she looked, like someone who hadn't slept properly in days. Her dark hair was tied loosely, strands falling across her face, and her coat looked like it had been thrown on in a hurry. In that moment, Daniel realized something strange about the situation. This woman had chosen his house, a stranger's home, as a place to run to. That meant whatever she was running from had to be worse than trusting a man she had never met. The house felt quiet again, except for the ticking of the old kitchen clock. From the hallway, the soft glow of a nightlight illuminated the path toward Lily's bedroom. Daniel's daughter had already fallen asleep hours earlier, unaware that something unusual was unfolding just beyond her door. Daniel poured a glass of water.